Hello, parents and catechumens. My name is Steve Castellanovo, and I'm one of the 8th grade catechists at St. Paul Catholic School. And I'm here to give you a broad lesson overview for each chapter that you'll be doing from home. It's very simple, and these are some things that you can look forward to while you are going over the lessons at home with your parents, with your families, and with your sponsors, and with everyone else who is involved in your walk towards Christ. So it's really easy to navigate, maneuver. First thing is starting from Unit 1, which can be found on page 51. We start with the opening prayer and the overall theme of the chapter, which is how we are all made in God's image. And you can read the quote from Genesis 1, 27, 28, and 31. And that would be a nice time to start a reflection and to start really contemplating why we're here and why we were made and what purpose do we serve on earth. So you can go right from there to getting started and write down your thoughts. As you can see, the textbooks that you have are pretty well laid out, trying to help you be as thoughtful and introspective as possible when considering becoming an adult in the Catholic Church. If you notice on the top right corner, there are some words that you'll have to know, some vocabulary that you'll need to know, and all part of your Catholic formation, by the way. Going into the next 2 pages, here's where we really start getting into the depth and breadth of each chapter. And the 3 main points that we want to put across for our confirmation students are recognizing that we are made to be in a relationship with God, identifying ways humans are different from the rest of the creative world, and examine Jesus' relationship with God the Father and apply it to our own lives. So again, as you can see, the text book used for this lays out everything very well, reinforces the key concepts and words that we need, plus also lays it out in a way that is more real life, more day-to-day, you want to say nuts and bolts of living your faith out. So if you go over these 3 bulleted concepts, you should be all right. And of course, there's the invitation at the end in order to supplement these 2 pages by reading Matthew 6, 26 to 33. The next 2 pages show you the call to covenant. And this is where we really get into our relationship with God and the fact that God went out of his way to make this treaty, make this promise to us, because that's what the covenant is. So you can discuss what a covenant is or sacred promises made between God and humans, and recognize God's faithfulness to humans even when we sin. And I think that's a very important bullet to continue to enforce with our confirmation candidates. Pages 58 and 59 go into God's laws and how God has delivered laws or covenants to us in the past. So these 2 pages talk about being guided by law Again, points that you would need to discuss. Discover how God's law guides us to live in His image and follow His covenant. Understand that the natural and revealed law guide is us living a faithful life. And you can discuss how the commandments help us maintain God's friendship. So, those are some important ways to discuss how we as Christians live inside God's law. And there's a pretty cool activity about identifying the correct commandment. Hopefully, they should know them by now, but it's always good to reinforce, so especially these days. So that's a nice way to do that. And then, of course, the final page, the live section, on page 60. Read through the discussion questions about our Catholic life. And every week, as you may know, we're also going to focus on one saint in particular. If you can see, this first chapter is about Saint Marcella. And there's another activity to identify the expectations for seeing God's image in others. Page 61, and at the end of every chapter is also a prayer of petition that you can pray with them, and hopefully this is the beginning of strengthening their Catholic formation. Also, like I said, don't forget the vocabulary words. And that's pretty much it. We'll be supplying other supplemental material for you as well. So please keep an eye out for emails on Flocknote from Julie and from Tara and from everyone else. That's kind of the overview of the lesson. And I hope things go well. Hopefully we will be in touch, and hopefully we'll be able to interact. But that's all for the overview of the lesson. And this is Steve Castellanovo, and thank you, and God bless.